So here is a wonderful moment from CNN about Iran. Clarissa Ward is in Iraq, and she's standing at one of the places. This is great. She's standing at one of the places where the Iranian missiles hit the other day. And here she is talking about what she sees.
I am standing here right at the site of one of those missile hits. This is the crater, the damage that was caused by the impact of that strike. You can see it's not a huge amount of damage, but the ground is very soft here. As you can also see, it's been raining very hard. There's a lot of shrapnel here on the ground from that impact. But the question is, what exactly were the Iranians targeting here? Local security officials telling us there's simply nothing here. There's a refugee camp just under a mile away in that direction, but no U.S. presence, no U.S. military presence particularly. This may have been for the Iranians less about showing power and precision, John, than it was about showing reach.
She's got to figure out why they fired their missiles in... Yeah, exactly. There's the Iranian army at work. They got to figure out why they fired their missiles into the dirt. So she starts making stuff up. She makes up a narrative. It's not about their power and precision, which is the... I'm sorry, because the only reason to fire missiles at all is to hit something. But she says, well, they're trying to show their reach, how far their missiles can go. They're trying to fire missiles and save face because they've got some people in their gut. First of all, because they have to save face, because one day they look out the window and the people will come in there and carry them off as they should be carried off and destroyed, because what are the people getting out of their insanity and their warmongering and their terrorism? Nothing. The people don't get anything out of that. But the other thing is, of course, they have to appease the hardliners in the government who are saying we must strike back about the great Satan, you know. So they're firing some missiles into the dirt, and Clarissa just can't figure it out. So she's got to come up with a narrative. That's what they've been doing. And the thing, you know, I have a lot of faith in the truth, but there are times when the truth vanishes. There are, of course. We know this from history. We know there are panics that people go into. There are things like, you know, Nazi Germany, where people tell these horrifying lies and cut off all kinds of all other forms of communication, and people buy into the lies. And we know this does happen, but I keep feeling here in America, people are still kind of commonsensical, still look at things and know the truth. And one of the things that Trump is unraveling is he's unraveling the lies of the last 8 years that Obama was the light-working great president and the second coming. Obama was an incompetent. I don't believe Obama was evil. I think he had stupid academic ideas and did not change those ideas when reality slapped them upside the head. We're talking about the fact that if you don't look for the truth honestly, you don't speak the truth honestly, you don't seek the truth, then you're going to come a cropper, because the world will not react the way you think it's going to react. And that was Obama's whole problem. And the problem is exacerbated for the left by the fact that they are surrounded by all these liars, the liars of the press. The press echoes their lies back to themselves, and they think those lies are true. But the rest of us can see. The rest of us have other forms of information. The rest of us are all listening to the Daily Wire, where we get the truth. And that's the problem the Democrats are having. So Trump came out in his speech yesterday, a great speech, where he said, okay, you know, they shot some missiles into the dirt. We're going to put some more sanctions on them. But basically, we slapped them where it hurt, and they took it and liked it. And that's the end of that. And so, but he said, you know, remember, these missiles were being bought by the money that Obama sent them for his stupid nuclear deal. So NBC, where they covered up the Harvey Weinstein story, and CBS, where they helped ABC cover up the Jeffrey Epstein story. I just want to keep reminding you that those are the people who are giving you the news, the people who say, oh, yeah, abusing women, we don't talk about that. We do it, but we don't talk about it. Just want to remind you that they cover up for Obama in real time. They rewrite the story to make sure that nobody believed what the president says. Here's both. First, I think it's CBS and then NBC.
He blamed that behavior on the unfounded claim that the Obama-era nuclear agreement enabled Iran to build up its military arsenal.
The missiles fired last night at us and our allies were paid for with the funds made available by the last administration.
And there is backlash to this comment about his predecessor, former President Barack Obama.
The missiles fired last night at us and our allies were paid for with the funds made available by the last administration.
That's a reference to Iran's money that was unfrozen as a part of the Iran nuclear deal, a deal negotiated by former President Obama and ripped up by President Trump. Today, a former top Obama official firing back.
This is another series of despicable lies.
You are
by
fake
President
news.
Trump.
It's Susan Rice. It's Susan Rice, the woman who went on after Benghazi onto every show on Sunday and lied at each show. It's Susan Rice they're using to call out Donald Trump. So it's like, we need some lies, Susan. Could you lob in some lies? Who are we going to get to lie for us and cover up for us for the way we covered Obama and lied about it? We need, hey, how about Susan Rice? Get me Susan Rice on the phone.
Come on, man.
It is unbelievable. It is just one. Here's Dan Crenshaw telling the truth of the matter.
Well, they're obsessed with defending their strategy of appeasement, right? They thought that the best way to deal with Iran was to pay them off, send over pallets full of cash, unfreeze their assets, lift sanctions, and then hope for change, right? Remember President Obama's theme was hope and change, and that was their foreign policy as well. It didn't work, and it's time to accept that, because what actually happened was the Iranians were enriched and therefore able to fund their Quds Force more and destabilize the region, destabilize Syria, Yemen, fund sleeper cells in Bahrain, fund Shia militias in Iraq.
You know, one of the things that is kind of helps the left a little bit is that Donald Trump is a hard guy to know. We were talking about this a bit on the Daily Wire backstage show yesterday, where, you always try and fit the president in the narrative of other presidents. But because Donald Trump is so offbeat and so original, it's very hard to fit him in that narrative. So it is easier for the Democrats to say everything he does is evil and weak and stupid. And it's just like he's continually bumbling into success, is our Donald. He's a dope, but somehow the economy's going through the roof. He's a dope, but somehow the mullahs in Iran, for the first time since the Iranian Revolution, are standing down. But he's a little hard to fit into the narrative because he is getting rid of all the Obama doctrines, which were so silly, but he has his own way of doing things. And sometimes that way, you may not like it, you may like it. It's his own. For instance, that he is a guy who depends on individuals, and he wants to have relationships with individuals. He thinks this is the way the world is going to go forward. So even if it's Kim Jong-un, even if it's this lunatic bad guy, I don't think Donald Trump is fooled by Kim Jong-un. He can come in and say, we get along, he's a great guy, he's a nice guy. I don't think the guy is fooled by Kim Jong-un. He just thinks you got to be nice to him, you got to talk to him, you got to find a way into him. Now, sometimes that may work, sometimes it may not, but it is the way that Trump does business. And the other thing about him, and this has been a real boon to the anti-Trump press because they lie so much, is that he's always making a deal. He is always in process. He is always going from somewhere to somewhere else. He's always thinking about that. So it's easy for the press to just say, to take a freeze frame photo of him at any moment and say, this is where he is. Oh, did he just levy tariffs on China? Oh, this is going to be the tariff president. Well, no, these are tariffs that he's using to make a deal. He's always moving somewhere. And the thing is, other presidents, and look, again, you can see good things about this and bad things about it. Other presidents make a statement, and that is the policy of the United States. Trump often makes a statement, and it's just a way of getting to where he wants to go. And you can say, well, no, we need to trust the words of the president to be a statement. That's not the way Trump is.